Welcome back to Royals Weekly. I am your host, Marcus Mead, and joining me as always, the Tito Jackson of our family, my brother Mike.
Hey, that guy was the backbone of a pop sensation. I will take it.
At least I didn't make you Latoya.
Stupid Latoya.
Yeah. I am,
I'll
of
be
course,
Tito.
the Michael. I'm, of course, the Michael Jackson.
Oh, the perv. I think he means the perv.
Well, talent-wise, we're talking
Alleged.
Jackson 5 eras. Alleged stuff there. Don't sue us, estate of Michael Jackson. Anyway, on this week's Royals Weekly, we're going to look back at what was a lackluster week from the boys in blue on the field. We're going to dig once again into the underperforming Royals offense because, hey, what's the only thing keeping them from dominating right now? Pretty much just the Royals offense. I'm going to check in real quick to see if we have an Apple Podcast review, but we're also going to preview this week's games as we always do. That'll come in our final segment. I do need to remind you to subscribe to the Royals Weekly Substack because we're doing a big ticket giveaway. Royals Weekly is giving away 2 tickets to the May 30th Tigers-Royals game for we're going to raffle off for 1 paid Substack subscriber. So you have until May 27th to become a paid Substack subscriber. For those of you who are, you'll be automatically entered, and we're going to draw to see who wins those 2 tickets. These are excellent seats. They're craft and draft seats. They have $20 worth of loaded food and drink value on them, and you'll get a parking pass with all that. Plus, it's Big Slick Night. It's Fireworks Friday. Hell of a night to go to a ball game. Mike, what are your thoughts on this amazing, amazing giveaway?
Those are all fantastic, but I'm excited to play against the Tigers because there's a chance to catch us from the ground in the division if we can pull off a series win in that one. So I will be intently watching that game.
Yes, this is our way to say thank you to our paid Substack subscribers. I can't say that. Substack subscribers for supporting the show financially. We really appreciate it. It's only $5 a month. You get all this extra content, a couple extra episodes a week, extra writing every week, and that sort of thing. If you want to enter for the ticket giveaway, if you want to enter to get all this great content, $5 a month by May 27th, and then we'll do the drawing. Also, a reminder, go out, leave us a review. We didn't have one in Apple Podcast this week. Go leave us an Apple Podcast review. If you're like, I want to help out Mark and Mike, they provide me an episode every week. Go do that. Leave an Apple Podcast review. Leave us 5 stars on any of the other platforms or any of that stuff. That really helps us out, helps out the show, spreads the word a little bit farther and wider, and we really appreciate it. We'll start the review of last week with roster news, and there is a lot of it, sadly, in not great news. When you have a ton of roster news, it's usually bad. It's usually a bad sign. We'll start with the most important, the big headline. This doesn't go chronologically. This goes most important addition or subtraction, and then down to the least important. The Royals placed Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo on the 15-day injured list. Ragans went there with a groin issue that he's been having for the last few weeks, really. Lugo went down there with a finger sprain, and so both will be down for at least a couple of weeks. As a result, the Royals have recalled Noah Cameron. Now, I think Ragans is currently throwing, and Lugo, they're not talking about this sprain like it's some big-time deal that's going to be long-term, but you hate to lose your top 2 starters. Mike, what are your thoughts on losing Ragans and Lugo and having Cameron come up to replace at least one of them?
Well, I'm hoping it's nothing serious for Ragans, especially because the groin is technically a soft muscle issue. You really have to get those healed and then give them about another week of rest. And I wish they would have done that earlier when they had to skip a start from him. But now maybe they'll do the smart thing, keep him out for that full time if they need to, let it completely heal before. When you said he's throwing, that kind of makes me a little, just let him heal, and then get him back up to what he needs to be, because we're going to need him. It doesn't matter. I mean, right now, Ragans wasn't throwing all that well. It didn't look like he was his old self. And so your offense isn't scoring anyway. So if you're going to keep him out before, hopefully you do something to improve the offense, keep him out, get him to full health. The finger sprain actually scares me the most because I just don't know anything about it. And I don't know a whole lot about finger sprains, even with pitchers, I haven't heard of too many of them happening. And so hopefully, since it's just a 15-day thing, it doesn't last very long, and we can get Lugo back in there, because Noah Cameron I love. We're going to talk about him a little bit more here in a second. He did great in his start the other day, but he's just one guy, and those are 2 guys.
Yep.
So
Yep. My math, the math ain't
math
mathing
ain't
there for
mathing.
me with
Math ain't
Noah
mathing.
Cameron only being one guy. So I guess being two guys. Yeah, and they're just Reagans and Lugo are great. Both of them finished top 5 in the Cy Young last year. Like you never want to lose your top 2 starters. There are no conditions under which that's a good thing. It does make me feel a little bit better knowing that we have Cameron for depth and knowing how well he's done in AAA this year and last year, and seeing him have success in his first major league start down in Tampa Bay, went out and had another good outing again yesterday. That does make me feel a little bit better that okay, so at least when they're replacing one of those two, you have a competent pitcher. You have a competent major league starter. I think that's what he is, honestly. I think he is a competent major league starter right away. And so that's great. It's also helps knowing that there are going to be more off days for the next month. I looked into the schedule, and the Royals have at least one off day every week for the next month. And so they might be able to sort of game the system by having off days and sort of maybe one bullpen day thrown in, but they basically just use Cameron and don't have to dig even deeper into their farm system for guys who really aren't any good. Because honestly, there's nobody who's ready down in AAA as a starter. And so, but the off days might give them a chance to sort of move guys around on regular rest, but still not have to go to a fifth starter all that often, if that makes sense. The Royals also finally decided to do something that should have been done weeks ago, maybe a month ago, quite a while ago.
Last year,
they have designated Chris Stratton for assignment. They did that today. Then they called up Jonathan Bolin as a corresponding move in the bullpen. Mike, what are your thoughts on losing Stratton and getting Bolin up to Major League Baseball?
Hey, why not? Stratton's not giving you anything. He's not a guy you can trust to do in any sort of real situation. He's giving you mop-up duties, and if Bolin can even be a middle relief guy, that's more valuable than that. I know you're paying Chris Stratton more money, but you're going to pay him that money either way. So you might as well say goodbye, bring up Bolin, and see what kind of promise he's going to have moving forward. I've liked Jonathan Bolin for a long time. He's gone away from the style of pitching that I liked about him. I really was a fan of his sinker. But he's changed it up. He's still got a good slider, and I'd like to see what he can do against major league hitters.
Yeah, the weird thing is, what do you want to do, Royals? Do you want to pay $4.5 million for a 7 ERA, or do you want to pay $4.5 million for maybe $5 million because Bolin will actually make some money for a 3.5 ERA? What's the difference? Eventually that calculus just factors into that, just becomes bring Bolin up, because Bolin has looked great in AAA. He's got an ERA under 3. He's got a really good FIP. He's just been high strikeout rate, looking like a really quality reliever. He's also made 2 appearances in Major League Baseball so far this year, both clean innings. And so you look at him as a guy like, okay, this guy could be a solid middle reliever for us. Why wouldn't we want him over the guy who is giving up like a 450 slugging percentage so far this year? I mean, they're just dominating Chris Stratton.
If he comes up as even a fraction of what Steven Cruz has been since his call up, it's worth it. And so you got to give it a shot.
Yeah. Another thing they're giving a shot is bringing Dairon Blanco back. Also happened this morning. Dairon Blanco was called to what? Oh, you like Blanco?
Oh, the Cuban Missile. I love him.
Oh, who doesn't love him? Who doesn't love him?
He's my guy.
Yes, Dairon Blanco was recalled to Major League Baseball today. As a result, this sounds weird because he's a reliever, but the Royals put what's his name on the paternity list? Taylor Clark on the paternity list. And so they'll have to do something to sort of adjust again when Clark comes back off of that. But Mike, what are your thoughts on getting Blanco back into the lineup or back onto the roster? He already came through with a big hit today. And so, yeah, he's doing good things.
Nothing but grit, this guy. Nothing but grit. Hope he stays healthy is the big thing, because running is such a big, important part of his game. He's had the Achilles thing, and what was this latest one? Was it the Achilles again, or was it a hamstring? I can't remember.
I do not. I want to say it was Achilles again, but
yeah. But we need him healthy so he can run, because that's a big part of his value is his ability on the bases, and that ability late in games, and the ability to put down a bunt, and the ability to get a big hit when needed, like he did today with the double. And so, yeah, I like Dairon Blanco. He can play center field. We know the Royals don't love him in center field, but the value off the bench, the ability to play center field, this guy should be on a 26-man for the rest of his healthy days.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And he hits well enough, honestly. Like, He's not
Exactly.
a terrible
And
hitter. I think
I feel like he needs every part of these games to be
he
valuable
does.
enough.
He does.
It's
He
not
does.
a
But
guy who's
remember,
all valuable because he's a power bat off the bench or all valuable because he has great defense off the bench. He's just okay at all those things.
yeah, but remember that a couple years ago in limited plate appearances, something like 130 or something like that, he had a 107 or 106 weighted runs graded plus. He was a valuable offensive contributor a couple years ago. Last year, I think it was somewhere in the 90s for him. I'm not entirely sure, but he's not a zero at the plate, and part of that's because he is so fast, has a little bit of pop, more than you would think for a guy his size. And so, yeah, it's great having Dairon Blanco back. For as good as Tyler Tolbert did in that role, he just doesn't have the offensive ability that a Dairon Blanco has. And so it's great to see him back and contributing. And, if you need somebody who's, got ice in their veins, that's going to be Dairon Blanco. And right now they need some of that in this lineup. Mike, the big news came out of the minor league baseball right before we recorded, basically. One Jac Caglianone, the Royals' 2024 first-round pick, has been promoted to AAA Omaha as of tonight. And so he will be, I think they're flying to maybe Washington tonight or Minnesota.
Oh, I know they'll be in Salt Lake City sometime soon.
That's what it is. It's Salt Lake. Yeah,
Is
sorry.
okay.
I'm bad at geography. Omaha Storm Chasers are heading to Salt Lake, and Jackie Caglianone, Jackie Cags as we call him, will be on that plane. Also in promotion news, Frank Mazzucato was promoted from High A Quad Cities to Double A Northwest Arkansas. Mike, your thoughts on these two important promotions?
Well, I think they're both going to be extremely interesting. I'm really excited to see Cags play in Omaha. For him, it's like take a step up, kind of get knocked around a little bit, and then adjust is kind of the pattern that we're seeing here with Jac Caglianone. And so I'm excited to see what that looks like for him in Omaha. He has the spring training experience, though, where he gets to see kind of a variety of those different levels of pitchers. So he may go in there and really show out. I went through and looked at some of the stats to see, okay, what do we think about improvement here? He's still very, very aggressive. I don't think you're ever really going to get rid of that. The numbers have gotten better recently with both power and contact numbers. The other thing that kind of stands out to me a little bit, he may hit the ball on the ground a little bit more than we like, especially for a guy who, when he hits it in the air, it goes so damn far. He's got a ground out to fly out ratio that's over 1. And so I'd like to see that come down a little bit. You see him get the ball in the air a little bit more, but I'm really excited. We're also going to get a chance to get some more numbers on him, which I just think will be interesting to see because I think all those AAA parks, don't they, Mark? Don't they all have StatCast now? And
yes,
so
you can access AAA data through Baseball Savant now.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I'll be happy to see that. Mazzucato is another interesting one because he's got great numbers right now. When you look at, it's like a whip barely over 1. He's got an ERA in the ones. He's striking out a little bit over a batter per inning, but the walks are still really high. The reason his whip is so low, though, he just doesn't give up hits right now. He's not giving up any hits. And so
he doesn't give up hard contact. Like Mazzucato does not give up hard contact.
I'm trying to think of a comp for a major league guy who walks that many guys, though. Blake Snell is the obvious one. You're like, okay, he walks quite a few guys, but
yeah,
not that many.
No, nobody does that many at the major league level. It just wouldn't work, right?
So it'll be interesting to see him. I still haven't. Is the velocity still up on the fastball? I haven't watched anything.
I heard a report a while ago that said he was sitting like 91, 93 in an outing with Quad Cities, which is up from last year.
Okay.
So that's really good. Yeah, I love the notion of seeing Mazzucato in AAA, or not Mazzucato, Caglianone in AAA. I'm going to be paying really close attention to those StatCast numbers that we get a chance to see now. But just in the eye test, those plate appearances have been very good lately. You're seeing him get into a lot of 2-1, 2-0, 3-1 counts, which make it a lot more likely that he's going to get hit a pitch in his best hitting zones, which is great. That's what you want from him. He's really aggressive in those counts. You very rarely see him not swing when he is ahead because that's just who he is as a hitter. But he's much more likely to get pitches he can do damage on if he can work himself into those counts. And you can tell that that's what he's trying to do now, right? Like they've broke him of the notion that it's fine to swing as long as I can make contact with it. I'm good because he's got to know now that the outcomes will be worse. And AAA will test him in this way, right? You have a lot of veteran pitchers up there, a lot of guys who've been either pitching in minor league baseball for a long time or who have a lot of major league experience. they know how to abuse over aggressive hitters, and they're just going to go further and further outside the zone, making you chase. So I'll be interested to see if he holds on to that new approach as he makes that transition to AAA, because we know when context changes, when difficulty changes, sometimes the things that we just learned go right out the window and we go right back to what we were doing at the University of Florida or wherever, right? And so, yeah, I'll be watching a lot of Omaha baseball coming up soon. To see, well, not just Cags, Lofton, Rave. What a lineup that's going to be now. I mean, Omaha was already a pretty good offensive team. You now put Jackie Cags out there. It's going to be pretty damn good. On the field last week, the Royals did not put up what we would call a stellar week. They went 2-4 with it, bringing their overall record to 26-22. They dropped series to the Cardinals and the Astros. Both lost 2 games to each of those teams. Mike, you said last week that this week would tell us about the Royals facing good teams and how capable they were to face good teams. What did this week tell us?
It told us this team doesn't have what it takes to consistently beat good teams. I think that's very obvious now, especially after we went through basically the same thing last year. And, we all know the issues, the offense. I think the solution to that problem is a lot more complicated than the question itself. I mean, that's anybody with eyes knows this. But yeah, I think we've kind of seen when they get into those games with deeper lineups, with more well-rounded teams, Astros, Cardinals, Red Sox, they're going to struggle. When they see the White Sox, all right, they can kill them, but they're just not. And what the thing that makes those bad teams bad often is that they don't have pitching, right? And when you don't have pitching, you're going to come down to the level of the Royals offense and they're going to be able to score a few runs. That's just how it is. The other teams who have pitching, we can't score enough runs, and we're leaning so heavy on that pitching staff that 2, 3, 4 runs beats us. And that's just not a recipe for consistent winning.
No, it is not. Yeah, it's sad, but that's sort of the reality right now. Now, will that always be the reality this season? Not necessarily. Somebody can turn it around. The Royals could add some reinforcements from the minors. They might make a trade at some point. But right now, you look at their lineup, and you can't count on hardly any spot in that lineup. Bobby Witt Jr., maybe a little. Michael Garcia, sure. But beyond that,
two are it.
That's about it. Other than that, even Vinny Pasquantino, I'm not relying on him right now. Like Salvador Perez, no. Michael Massey, obviously not, right? Like there's just so many people who you don't know. Like most nights you're like, these guys could have the bases loaded with nobody out right now and they're not going to score a single goddamn run. That's what it feels like most nights.
It does. Like second and third and nobody out, you're going, how are they going to screw this up? Like
I've never seen a team score fewer runs with 2 men on and nobody out. 2 men on and nobody out happens to them all the time. And if they get 1 run, that's like a miracle. Woo-hoo! It's like a miracle, right? Like the notion of them getting 2 runs, not even a possibility. Like they're not going over 1, right? And so crazy to me. Crazy. Yeah.
And here's the thing, even if all those guys were hitting, if you're like, okay, the guys you expected to hit are hitting, it's still a lineup that's only half full. It's still not very deep. Like at their pinnacle outcomes, this is an average offense. And so when they're not at their pinnacle performance and you haven't seen those guys you expected to step up, then and there's too many guys in here that are almost nothings as far as contributions. We aren't getting average from near enough guys.
Mm-hmm. Mike, that being said, there were a couple of standouts this week. Wasn't a great week, but there were a few people out there who did some good things. Who's your strong performer for the week?
Well, I made a point to make it a non-offensive player. Okay. Yeah, I usually go offense because, I find that more exciting. But I went with our boy, friend of the pod, Noah Cameron, Joe Town's finest.
Joe Town?
Joe Town. All right. Go give it up for old Noah Cameron. What an outing, man. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits. He carried a no-hitter into the 5th, which I think is hasn't he done that in both games? I think he's done that.
He carried that no-hitter into like the 7th in his first start.
Yeah. So just 2 hits, 1 earned run on a solo home run, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. The strikeout numbers haven't shown in either of the 2 starts, which makes me think that right now Noah Cameron is going to have success in Major League Baseball with kind of what we always thought he would until the last year when he started striking out a bunch of dudes. We always thought maybe he's more of a command guy who, we'll get some strikeouts, but it'll be more on deception, mixing of pitches. That
Inducing
kind
weak
of
contact.
inducing weak contact is going to be his big thing, and not walking people. And he did that. This looked like what Noah Cameron was built to throw like. It was like,
this looked like Tom Glavine. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, he looked a lot like Tom Glavine did back in the day. From the same side and everything. Just really good job by Noah Cameron. We're excited for him. The Royals weekly bump lives on. And I feel a little more secure knowing the Royals have him.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I had so much fun to watch him pitch too. I enjoy it very much because he's, in and out and up and down. And hitters are trying to do their best and saying to themselves, why can't I hit this 92-mile-an-hour fastball where I want to? And they're like, guess what? You should have straight up in the air again, right? Like, it's rough on them. So I love it.
And they looked silly against some of those changeups too. The changeup looked really good.
Yeah, he was getting a lot of swing and miss on the changeup and a lot of
just butt swings on the changeup, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think the thing that made him so pitch efficient allows him to go into so many deep games right now is the four-seam fastball he wants to locate at the top of the zone. They can swing at it. They can even catch up to it enough to make contact with it, which is why he's not getting swing and miss on a ton of it. But it just goes straight up in the air, right? Like they all just hit these lazy fly balls. A lot of them are infield fly balls. And so that's an automatic out every single time, and it saves you some pitches. So great. Keep rolling with that. I, too, was compelled to only choose a pitcher because they carried the team and have all season, but they definitely did last week. I went with Michael Wacha because he got 2 starts this week, and both of them were solid. He went 11 and a third inning pitched, 3 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. Was watching the game today. The Royals managed to get a win in his start today. And all I could think was, man, how lucky is this baseball team that every time they send a starting pitcher out there, they have a very good chance to not allow that many runs. Right? Like, I can't say that they have a very good chance to win because their offense can't really score. But when the starter goes out there, there's a real good chance that he's going to limit them to 3 runs or less. Right? And so it was great to see Wacha go out there and do that again today. Was he the sharpest he's ever been? No. But he did enough to keep a pretty good offense and really good offense in the Cardinals down. And that was great.
Yeah, 7th in Major League Baseball in runs scored per game, the Cardinals are. And he didn't look perfect. He had a lot of guys on base. He gave up a few hits, but that's why Michael Wacha is still pitching at his age, because he knows how to get out of that stuff. He knows what his best pitches are. He knows how to use them. And so, what value we're getting from Michael Wacha and Chris Bubich. We didn't get to talk about him. He's not going to be in this, but he was my kind of honorable mention. Similar thing. Like, he looked great, and you knew going out there he's going to give us a chance. And of course, the Royals spoiled it. But
yeah, Mike, I'm guessing our weak performers were probably going to be from the offense, and it looks like they both are. Tell them who your weak performer was this week.
Yeah, the Michael Massey is just killing me. He's killing me on the inside. 3 for 20. He did have a home run, 1 RBI from that home run, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. You know what his weighted runs created plus is, Mark?
40.
31.
Ooh.
31. He is 69% below league average right now.
You don't want a weighted runs created plus near your age.
Yeah, no kidding. Golly. It's not working, Michael Massey. Okay? We need to, I think, send him down and get somebody up here that can do something. Nick Lofton's down there. Bring him up.
He's killing it. He is killing it.
Bring him up right now. And give me a competent at bat. Give me a guy who's not going to swing at a changeup that hits the dirt before it gets to the plate. This guy's driving me crazy with the aggressiveness. Okay? And remember, his entire offense is predicated on the fact that he has a really good launch angle and he pulls the ball a lot. What happens when I think launch angle, in 2 years, we're going to be saying launch angle is super volatile. You can't be counting on a guy to do this all the time. I think that's what we're going to start saying. And for a guy like Michael Massey, if you're not in that groove and you provide no value from walks or anything like that, any other aspect of your offense, you can't have that. If it's off, you're done.
Yeah, that does make it a lot tougher. And there is already research to suggest that launch angle is pretty highly variable anyway. Now, there are some guys, but it's not true for everybody. There are some guys who can hit more line drives consistently and that sort of thing, but it's real tough. My week performer for this week is also an offensive player, Salvador Perez. He did go out and have a little bit better game today, which was nice to see. But he went 3 for 25 last week with 0 extra base hits, 0 walks, and 8 strikeouts. And really, him in the middle of the lineup not producing all week was a big driver of the weak offensive performance throughout the week. He didn't have the type of week. And people are wondering, like, is this a result of the hip injury? It certainly may seem that way. His performance since he hurt his hip has gone down tremendously, but of course he didn't go on the IL, and so he didn't give it probably enough time to actually heal. And as a result, he's just dragging this bad performance through the week. And we'll see if it ends up, coming back. It's good that we have more off days moving forward, and so he might have a little bit more chance to rest and stuff like that. But the Royals are going to have to make this decision, and we're going to talk about this later, because right now they're carrying 3 catchers, and really Luke Maile isn't playing at all. And so what are they going to do with him? It's a good question. Mike, you chose a great theme for this week. I loved it when I saw it. What is your theme for a week that was not tremendous on the field?
Took me a while to find this one. Here's how I generally do the themes. I have a feeling about the week.
That's what I do.
I try and go look for like quotes or movie quotes or song lyrics that match that feeling. This one took me forever. But I finally found this classic from the baseball classic, The Natural, Robert Redford. Okay. Glenn Close, right?
Glenn Close, Wilford
Brimley. Okay. Yeah. Just a classic film. Baseball was made for kids, and grown-ups only screw it up.
It's a good Brimley. You slipped into a Brimley, and I love it.
Yeah, I did. You notice I didn't start with it, but I got in there. He pulled me towards it. These are fantastic words. Baseball was made for kids, and grown-ups only screw it up. All I could think was, man, those grown-ups out there wearing blue really screwed it up this week. Damn it, Royals. Damn it. Wilford Brimley with your damn wisdom and your sweet mustache.
So much wisdom behind that mustache.
Yes, I love Fisher from the Natural. If you've never seen it, kids, if you're young, I'd say even our age, a lot of people haven't seen that movie. If you haven't, go watch it. It's one of the greatest baseball films ever.
Absolutely holds up. I'm going with a quote from a band that I like a lot and occasionally just take an entire night to listen to, and that is Metallica. Mike and I's older brother is a huge Metallica fan, and he sort of passed down the legacy of their greatness. And so this comes from a song called "Nothing Else Matters," and I chose it because of that line, "Nothing else matters," right? Because until the Royals start fixing these offensive problems, nothing else really matters to me. Like, you can go out and pitch great, doesn't matter. You're not scoring any runs, you can't win, right? Like, and so the line is, "Trust I seek and I find in you. Every day for us something new. Open mind for a different view. And nothing else matters." That's James Hetfield.
That was a terrible Hetfield.
I can't Hetfield. My voice is not
very careful.
Deep.
If you do this, they just might sue you. I hear they're very litigious.
They're very litigious.
Lars is coming after you. All right.
Royals Weekly is brought to you by All in Physical Therapy, who are happy to announce that they will soon offer strength and conditioning programs for youth athletes. Starting in June, they'll offer strength and conditioning for athletes who want to gain an edge on the football field, basketball court, or baseball field.
If I get any faster, I'll need a tramp stamp license plate tattoo.
Yeah. Right? What's he going to say?
Got to register this thing, huh?
What's he going to say?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
Haul an ass.
Perfect. And of course, glad I couldn't come up with that one.
And of course, All in Physical Therapy still offers the best in recovery from total joint surgeries and sports injuries with offices in Blue Springs, Lee Summit, and Belton. They'll help you take care of your recently replaced hips, knees, shoulders, elbows, you name it.
Here's my question. Why don't we all have robot joints? Isn't that something we should all aspire to? Let's share the wealth of the robot joints.
Yeah, I feel like we should just be doing this at like our teenage years. If you're interested in reaching the peak of your athletic performance or getting back to 100% from an injury, check out All in Physical Therapy at allin-pt.com. That's allin-pt.com. Or give them a call at 816-427-5300. That's 816-427-5300. All right, we are back to talking about the offense again. The Royals aren't winning, and frankly, it's entirely the result of the atrocious offense. In 7 of their last 8 coming into Sunday, they scored 3 runs or fewer. They also scored fewer than 3 runs today. Mike, we've been calling for changes to the roster to help the offense for a while now. Unfortunately, JJ hasn't listened. Real quick, let's just go back over what you think should be done to the roster to help kickstart the offense.
We'll just lay it out here. Here we go. Just bombs, because we've said them all before. Drop Hunter Renfroe like a bad habit. You're out of here. Send Michael Massey down. Okay, I don't know if you're necessarily on board with that, but I definitely am.
I'm definitely on board with that.
Bring up Nick Lofton. Play Mark Canha more while you look for a trade or something else that benefits the offense. I don't think Cags is going to be ready quite when this team needs it, which is now. Okay. I don't even know that it's a guarantee that he's ready for like after the trade deadline or anything like that. But I think Mark Canha is being majorly underutilized. He had 8 at bats this week. Did you know he was on? 9 plate appearances. He was on base for 4 of them.
Like, that's what you want to see.
Come on, what are we doing? Get the guy in there. So that's what I would be doing. That's my at least starter pack, and then you got to really hit a home run on the trade market or possibly bringing someone up.
Yeah, honestly, I've become even more radicalized on this than you.
Wow. So, all right.
So in the Substack today,
clear house.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, actually. In the Substack today, I advocated to see Lofton, Rave, and Devaney all brought up. So Nick Lofton, John Rave, and Cam Devaney, who are all AAA players if you don't know them, I advocated for all of them to come up. And here's how you could easily do it, or at least you could do it. Obviously, you drop Hunter Renfroe, right? That creates 1 spot. Send Massey down. That creates a 2nd spot. The 3rd spot could be Luke Maley or one of the 3 catchers that you're carrying. You could put Salvi on the injured list or DFA Maley or something like that, though he's been playing well. You could send Drew Waters down because he's kind of turning back into a pumpkin a little bit and that sort of thing. And there are other options as well for getting all 3 of those guys on the list. Or
you could send
on the
Zerpa
roster,
down
right?
if you needed to.
Well, but none of these.
Yeah, you're looking at
eventually you'll need another pitcher. Or Biggio, you can't send him down, but you could DFA him. He hasn't been as productive as maybe we'd hoped. Giving these guys a chance makes a ton of sense to me because, frankly, they all have an argument to be given one, and you have nothing better offensively. Nothing. And so why not? You're really not hurting that much by, giving any of these things up in my mind.
Is Lofton going to come in and have a sub 30 weighted runs created plus? If not,
I doubt
it. What's your argument then?
What is your argument? I doubt it. What's your argument? Are any of those guys? It would be really, really hard and unlikely if any of those guys came up and had a sub 30 weighted runs created plus.
We're talking about, I mean, for like Massey, probably he's had 200 at bats or something almost.
Yeah. Same with Renfroe.
Really? Wow, that's quite a bit. Okay.
Now he's probably had fewer because he hasn't been playing for the last 3 weeks or so.
But it's not. Oh, Kenny, we need a bigger sample size here. No, he needs serious adjustments. Is what he needs. Ones that he shouldn't be making in a lineup every day, playing Major League Baseball. So, I'm all down for radical change, especially in the bottom half of this lineup.
Mike, a big part of the problem is hitting with runners in scoring position. The Royals are terrible at it. They have a 58 weighted runs created plus with runners in scoring position, which is dead last in Major League Baseball. Part of that is just luck. But Mike, beyond luck is something, when I say luck, I mean bad luck. Is there something going on to keep the Royals from hitting it with runners in scoring position?
Yeah. They don't have very good hitters, and that leads to bad outcomes when they make contact with the ball. And they make a lot of contact with the ball. So 7th percentile in weighted on base average when they make contact. That's the Royal. Sorry, 7th percentile. Okay, 7th percentile. They are terrible when it comes to their outcomes when putting the ball in play. And it's not just like BABIP. They don't. This measures like exit velocities and things like that. They are one of the worst when it comes to weighted on base average when they make contact. And so. And my question there is like, okay, I see that because I watch Michael Massey play constantly. I look at the bottom half of the lineup and know that you're never going to get enough out of Isbell. Your Hunter Renfroe gives you next to nothing. Biggio's been bad. I understand that. We didn't think the bottom half of the lineup was going to be superstars. So this number was never going to be too great. But here's my question. What is this team's offensive identity? What do they do well offensively?
terrible base running?
Like what? Tell me something, anything. They're not a power team. Okay.
No.
They're not a power team, but they've got one of the biggest, everybody loves to tell me, oh, Kaufman suppresses home runs, but you get more doubles and triples. Okay. Why isn't their batting average higher then?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Why is that the case? If you're a team of high contact and you're going to run and whatever, and athletes and this and that, why don't you do it then? You know, it's that the famous line from the movie. If he's such a great hitter, why the hell doesn't he hit? You know, like this lineup makes contact okay. Does that translate to anything?
No,
it doesn't. It's bad contact.
Right. And we know enough about contact now. It used to be people thought, well, like, okay, it's just luck. Like the ball goes and it's, you know, if it falls, it falls. If it doesn't, it's luck. We know so much more about contact, how it's made, the difference between quality contact and poor contact now, that there's really no excuse for employing a bunch of people and sort of putting them in a lineup when it's becoming clear that they're really bad at doing the things necessary to get quality contact. Like, that's sort of what's going on here.
Yeah, or there's something in their approach, which is what it is for most of them, that stifles that quality contact. And right now the lineup is chocked full of these guys. And sadly, they're all the guys that like came up through our system and we developed.
Yeah, and we didn't do them any favors in that result, right? Like, and yeah, I think this is a little bit of a shallow lineup problem, in part because, so let's say you're a lineup and you have 4 good hitters, and you go through the lineup once and 2 of them get on base because, you know, they're 4 good hitters. Some of them are going to get on base. Well, guess what? You have 2 guys on and you have 2 outs, and you're counting on a guy who's not a good hitter now to drive them in, to get a hit with runners in scoring position. It's just not going to happen. It's just a numbers game. If your best hitters are getting on base, and then once they're on base, you're up to your not good hitters, guess what? You're screwed because you're going to have trouble driving those guys in from dudes who hit 170 like Hunter Renfroe does. Right? Like, that's going to be real tough in my mind.
Yeah.
You know? Mike, one issue is that as Vinny has started to pick things up, Salvador Perez has started to slump. And so the heart of their order is still not really firing on all cylinders. He represents a sticky situation. The Royals are currently carrying 3 catchers because Salvador Perez's hip is preventing him from catching regularly. What should the Royals do about the Salvador Perez situation, Mike?
Well, I may have even mentioned this before to you off air or maybe on the podcast. I can't remember. But I think another thing that's coming in Major League Baseball, you're going to see one of these advanced statistics that measures a guy's consistency. And like really, okay, what's the volatility metric here for his offensive production? If you get that, the Royals, I feel like, would be really low or really high, I guess, in volatility and really low in consistency. And that's largely because the traits that a lot of these guys hold that make them put weak contact, the aggressiveness, leads to large slumps, leads to inconsistency, times when you're really crushing it and times when you're doing nothing. And Salvador Perez has always been one of those guys. Vinny has kind of as well. I mean, not necessarily, that's not his issue a lot of the times, but when Salvi's up and down like he has been his whole career and it just matches up with Vinny, who's producing runs for this team?
Nobody.
Like, one guy. You got Bobby Witt Jr., and that's about it. And I understand Maikel Garcia has had a nice resurgence here, and he's done a lot, had a huge hit in the game today that ended up being the game-winning RBI. But that's not a run producer. That's a good glove guy who's putting together maybe the offensive season of his career, it might end up being. And so the offense is terrible right now. So if he's not healthy, you've got to sit Salvador Perez down and put him on the IL and let him heal, because your only chance at producing offensively is if that guy can be a little bit more consistent and do things. And you'll probably still need Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny hitting. It's almost like a combination. You need 2 of the 3 to even have a solid offense in any way. And right now we're getting 1 out of 3 way too many times.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If he's healthy, you need to send Maile down and you need to get somebody who can help this offense up, right? If he's not healthy, put him on the IL, let Maile do something offensively. Let him do something. He's just sitting on the bench right now. That's a wasted spot in my mind. And you're doing it pretty much just so Salvador Perez can kind of not be injured. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, so you're wasting that roster spot when it could be Nick Lofton's chance to get to Major League Baseball and help your team offensively, when it could be John Rave's chance or Cam Devaney's chance or whatever, right? Like, and so Stop wasting it. Just make a decision about what is actually Salvador Perez's status at this point. Royals Weekly is brought to you by Eric Oxer of West USA Realty. Do you have the same fantasy we do of retiring to a land of eternal summer? If so, you need to call Eric Oxer of West USA Realty pronto. He can help you transition to a lovely home in the Phoenix area and a life of fun in the sun.
Heats out, cheeks out. Am I right, fellas? Hoo-hoo.
Yeah. Hoo-hoo. Eric was one of the top real estate agents in the Phoenix area to end 2024 because he gives all of his clients a personal experience focused entirely on their needs. With Eric Oxer of West USA Realty, it's not about him, it's about you. He's there to listen to you, work for you, and guide you through the ins and outs of buying and selling in the Phoenix area.
Buying a house is just like sex. You don't want to do it alone unless you absolutely have to.
And find Eric Oxer of West USA Realty online at ericoxer.com. That's AERICKAUXIER.com. Or just give him a call or shoot him a text at 480-383-9745. That's 480-383-9745. If you're at all interested in what a life in the Phoenix area might hold, let him make the experience all about you. Maybe a trip away from Kansas City is just what the boys need to shake off the offensive funk that they're in. They'll hit the road for what will be a very long road trip in terms of miles traveled. It's a very odd route they're taking. First, they go to San Francisco for 3 games to start the week, and then a day off, and then they wing their way up to Minneapolis. It's not like a West Coast swing where they're going to hit most of it. They're like San Francisco
West
to
Coast,
Minneapolis. Very odd. They're going to have a 3-gamer against the Red Hot Twins, who have now vaulted over them in the AL Central. Mike, tell us about the boys from East Bay.
Oh, the Twins are beating us in the Central now?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're in 4th?
Yes.
Hey. Okay. That sucks. That's going to be a big, important series then. San Francisco Giants, boys from the Bay, 28-19, 3rd in the NL West. Tough NL West.
Tough NL West.
28-19. Tough NL West, guys. 28-19, you get 3rd place. Eesh. The Dodgers, who's the other team beating them?
Padres,
yes. Good lineup for the Padres. All right, in our first game against the Giants, it'll be Chris Bubich versus Robbie Ray, guy who's been around for quite a while. 33-year-old lefty out of Brentwood High School in Tennessee. He's got a 3.04 ERA and a 1.25 whip. His fastball is 93 to 94, slider, changeup, knuckle curve. He does have a really high walk rate, 12.4. Don't know if the Royals will be able to take advantage of that or not. Who knows? They might just strike out. Or probably infield pop-up. They love the infield pop-up. He's got a very effective fastball, which also does not favor the slide up. I looked at this and go, damn it, we're going to get beat by Robbie Ray, aren't we? Fuck. But effective fastball, he throws it about 50% of the time. The Royals struggle with a good fastball, so hopefully they can get on top of that one. Second game, we'll see Michael Lorenzen against Hayden Birdsong, 23-year-old righty out of Eastern Illinois. He's having a great rookie season, 2.31 ERA and a 1.29 whip, but he hasn't started a game yet. 11 appearances, but no starts, so he's probably an opener, you say. Here.
Well, so it's complicated. He is a multi-inning reliever. He did 3 innings his last outing and about 2.3 or 2.2 innings the last time out. Or 2 times ago. So we'll see what they end up doing with him. They may be like, we're stretching him out to bring him into the rotation. He is one of their good pitching prospects. So.
Okay, we'll see then. Lively fastball at 96 to 97, a slider, a changeup, and a curveball. He gives up a lot of hard contact, almost 47% hard hit rate. He'll probably go 3 to 4 innings, as Mark was saying. We'll see on him. In that third game, that would be Cole Reagan's spot, but he is on the IL, so we don't know who's going to be in that spot. Noah Cameron could go on normal rest, if I'm not mistaken, because of the off day for that spot, because he pitched in Lugo's spot last time. But I think Noah Cameron could take that spot. David Lesky put out a thing where he said basically Noah Cameron could take Reagan's spot in the second time because of the off day. He'd be on normal rest. But if they need Lugo on the DL longer, that's only if Lugo only needs a few days on the IL, because they did it retroactive. I think his IL. Yeah. So if that's the case, there is a chance it's just Noah Cameron. But then we would need somebody for Lugo's start after that. So, but he'll go, whoever that ends up being, it'll go against Logan Webb, 28-year-old righty out of Rockland High School in California. 2.42 ERA for him and a 1.12 whip. Big time sinker baller, great pitcher, 92 to 93 with a sweeper, a changeup, a cutter, and a four-seamer. He is their ace. He's used his sweeper a lot more this year. His strikeout rate has gone up quite a bit as a result, 27% strikeout rate. So the sinker can be hit. It's got a 335 expected weighted on base average. So maybe we'll be able to take advantage of that one. Love to see us get wins in game 1 and game 2, though. That would be fantastic.
Same here. After that, they're going to head off for Minnesota to face the Twins. They are 26-21, which is good for second in the AL Central. Their offense is right at league average, basically. They have a 100 weighted runs created plus, which is good for 14th. Cody Clemens is giving them a good year so far. He's only played in 14 games, but he's got a 192 weighted runs created plus. Harrison Bader, who I think was a free agent addition for them this offseason, has a 136 weighted runs created plus. They are getting a good season out of Byron Buxton, and they're not really out of Correa yet, but both of those guys are currently on the 7-day concussion injured list because they ran into each other on a fly ball in between the infield and outfield, yes. And as a result, they're both in the concussion protocols, essentially. So they could come off of it before this series, I think, because I think it's from the 14th maybe or the 16th. I can't remember. But we'll see if those guys are able to come back by then. Not 100% sure on that. Their pitching staff is one of the best in baseball. They're third in Major League Baseball just behind the Royals with a 3.15 ERA. That's Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan, both having excellent years this year. Both have ERAs under 2.5. Bailey Ober has a 3.72, so their rotation is real strong. They're also getting a decent year out of, who's that guy who was supposed to be a big-time prospect for the Padres, and then he ended up coming to the Twins. He's tall. He's right-handed. Can't remember his name, but he's got about a 4 ERA too, and he's a starting pitcher for them. So hopefully we can find a way to do something against this Twins rotation because they're real good. We'll end this week's episode like we end every episode with the Just a Bit Outside segment where we talk about something that's interesting to us outside the world of baseball. It's been an interesting week. I'm sure many things have gone on inside and outside of our houses, Mike, but what's been going on with you this last week?
Well, I actually took some students on a field trip to Union Station last week, which I'm not a huge fan of field trips necessarily, but I did like the destination we went to. We went to Union Station to show them an exhibit. If you don't know, Union Station has exhibits and stuff. I'm sure all the people listening probably know this if they live in the greater Kansas City area. But right now, I just wanted to tout the one that's there, especially if you have children. I think it'd be great for kids, really our kids really enjoyed it. They were 14 or they're 14. So, there's a wide range of kids that might love this, but it's the Guinness Book, the science behind the Guinness Book of World Records. It's like a Guinness Book of World Records thing. And then each exhibit kind of talks about the science behind them, but it's crazy interactive. So of course you get to try and win a lot of these, either win this Guinness Book of World Records thing or beat the person who has the world record and compete against other people you're with and all this sort of stuff. Really cool. But also explaining a lot of how it works and a lot of the stories from the people who broke those records. And so, yeah, it was really, really awesome to do that. So I'm encouraging people to take your kids to that exhibit or any awesome exhibit at Union Station. And then Crown Center's, real close. You can walk down to that. And there's a bunch of free stuff, especially in the winter for parents to do there. So awesome. Enjoy what your city has to offer. These are low cost things that are very valuable.
Mike, you should put out another podcast. It's just like a Kansas City guide to parenting.
Oh gosh, no.
Like that.
No, I would never do that. I would never do that because sometimes I think baseball fans are assholes, but the comment section would be unreadable.
Yes, that's very funny. But I just got a text from Eric Oxer of West USA Realty, who is our friend. And it's made me radically change what I was going to talk about for my Just a Bit Outside this week. So I'm going to take
because I liked the one you had up there.
The one I had is good, and I might talk about it later because the other night I watched a couple episodes of the Drew Carey Show for the first time in decades.
Where?
And yeah, it's on one of those weird.
I was going to say, you can't find it anywhere. They had some legal battles with the theme song and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's on some weird, tiny streaming service that you can get for free very easily. Yeah. But I'm changing from talking about that and from the 90s sitcom, stand-up to sitcom era, and to talk about something else. The other day, my partner and I were having a conversation, and somehow the question got asked, how many birds do you think you've seen in your life? Okay.
Oof.
But because my answer was relatively normal, I calculated it roughly how you would think you would calculate it. My partner just said 8 million. She thinks she's seen 8 million birds in her life. Okay. But
So she doesn't
I
know how
started
many a million is, huh?
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. You have no clue. You have no concept of what a million is. Okay. But she's still like dying on this hill. And somehow it morphed. It started morphing into like, not how many have you seen, but how many have literally been within your field of vision, even the ones you can't see. How many do you think have literally been within your field of vision? And so we're just like reaching out to friends, asking them to answer these questions. And we asked Eric Oxer of West USA Realty. He came up with a very similar number to mine, like 60 to 70,000 or whatever. This is a little insight into the conversations that happen in my household. They're usually like this, and they're very weird. And I had a lot of fun having this conversation all week with my partner about how many birds each of us have seen. But I want all of you who listen to this to consider, how many birds do you think you've seen in your life? Okay. How many birds have you seen in your entire life?
That's a wild number. It's a wild.
If you work as a park ranger, yours will probably be on the high side.
I'm an ornithologist, of course.
Then you're way up there, okay? Yeah. But like the average person, you can do the math. Figure it out. That's all we have for this week. Please tune in again next week. Please subscribe to the Royals Weekly Substack. Become a paid subscriber. You might win a couple of very valuable tickets. You can go watch an awesome Royals game. But we will definitely be back next Monday as well for everybody else. Until then, be good to each other.
And go Royals.